Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time. Hello everyone, welcome to Study IS. My name is Aditi Sharma and I am your faculty for Environment and Ecology for UPSC CSE Prelims and Mains examination. So I am back again with another video for you people, and it will be an introduction for environment and ecology. So let's get started, guys. So today we will talk about environment and its components, habitat, biosphere, ecology, and levels of organization. So let's get started. So now environment. So it basically stands for surrounding, and it has been defined as the sum total of all the conditions and influences that affects the development of organism. So this may be social or economic and biological or chemical factors. So it consists of biotic and abiotic factors that interact with each other. An environment for food, energy, water, oxygen, shelter, and for other needs. So the relationship and interaction between organism and environment are highly complex. It comprises both living biotic and non-living abiotic components. So the environment is not static. Both biotic and abiotic factors are in a flux and keeps changing continuously. So now have a look at this picture. How neatly does it explain in this picture? Like components of environment, they are described in three parts. First is the natural one, and then human made, and then human. So it is a combination of natural and human made phenomena, while the natural environment refers to both biotic and abiotic condition existing on the earth. So human environment reveals the activities, the creation and interaction among human beings. So let's come to the natural part. So natural environment consists of land, water, air, plants and animals that comprise the natural environment. So now, as you people must be knowing that what is hydrosphere, atmosphere, lithosphere and biosphere. So these are the four domains of the environment. So now all plants, animals and human beings depend on their immediate surroundings. Often they are also interdependent on each other. So this relation between the living organisms as well as relation between the organisms and their surroundings form an ecosystem. So there could be an ecosystem of large rainforest, grassland, desert, mountains, lake, river, ocean and even a small pond also. So human beings interact with the environment and modified it according to their need. So early humans adapted themselves to natural surroundings. So they led a simple life and fulfilled their requirements from the nature around them. So with time, needs to grow and became more varied. So humans learn new ways to use and change. So they learned to grow crops, domesticate animals and led a settled life. So the wheel was invented and surplus food was produced, barter system was emerged, trade started and commerce also developed. So industrial revolution enabled large scale production, transportation became faster, information revolution was made communication easier and speedy across the world. So a perfect balance is necessary between the natural and human environment. So humans must learn to live and use the environment in a harmonious way. So these are very essential to form an environment. So now everything over here is interdependent. So everything is dependent on each other directly or indirectly. So somewhere something gets misused, it creates a disbalance in the environment. So we need to take everything in balance so that if a small thing gets disturbed, the whole balance will be messy. So now let's get forward. So now, what are the abiotic and biotic factors? So the biotic factors are the living or so the biotic factors are the living organisms. So the biotic components include living organisms comprising plants, animals, microbes, and they are classified according to their functional attributes into producers and consumers. So primary producers. So primary producers are basically green plants. So like you can see here, primary producers are the green plants, and there are certain bacteria also. So they synthesize carbohydrate from simple inorganic raw materials like carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight. So this process of photosynthesis for themselves and supply indirectly to other non-producers. So in terrestrial ecosystem, producers are basically herbaceous and woody plants, while in aquatic ecosystem, producers are various species of microscopic algae. So now let's talk about the consumers. So what are the consumers? Consumers are they are incapable of producing their own food. They dependent on organic food derived from plants, animals, or both. So consumers can be divided into two broad groups, namely micro and macroorganisms. So what are the macroorganisms? So they feed on plants or both, and they are categorized on the basis of their food sources. So herbivores are, like you can see this, it's written over here, herbivores. So herbivores are primary consumers which feed mainly on plants, example like cow, and secondary consumers feed on primary consumers, so that are wolves, and carnivores which feed on secondary consumers are called tertiary consumers, that are lion, which can eat wolves also. So omnivorous are organisms which consume both plants and animals, so that are man and monkey. So micro consumers. So who are micro consumers? So they are the bacteria and fungi. So bacteria and fungi which obtain energy, nutrients by decomposing the dead organic matter. So the products of decomposition, such as inorganic nutrients which are released in ecosystem, are reused producers and thus recycled. So earthworm and certain soil organisms such as, so abiotic components are the inorganic and non-living parts of the world. So the abiotic part consists of soil, water, sunlight, temperature. So now let's see this picture. So in this picture, you can see there is sunlight and heat, termite mound, fungi also, bacteria, plankton, insects, trees, land, water, everything you can see over here. So abiotic factors are the most important determinants of where and how well an organism exists and its environment. So although these factors interact with each other, one single factor can limit the range of an organism. So let's start with the temperature. So temperature is a critical factor of environment which greatly influence survival of organisms. So organisms can tolerate only a certain range of temperature and humidity. Next, the atmosphere. So the Earth's atmosphere is responsible for creating conditions suitable for existence of healthy biosphere on this planet. So now what is a habitat? So habitat is the place where an animal or plant lives, grows, is called a habitat. So habitat is the physical environment in which an organism lives. It is an ecological and environmental area inhabited by particular species of plants, animals, fungi, etc. So many habitats make up the environment. A single habitat make up the more than one organism which have similar requirements. So here is an example. So for an example, just a single aquatic habitat may support a fish or a frog or crab or phytoplankton and many others. So the various species sharing a habitat does have same address. That example, forest or river, etc. So the difference between habitat and environment. A habitat always have a life, whereas the environment does not necessarily have life in it. So all habitats are environments, but all environments are not habitats. So a habitat is always a preference of one species, and environment could be a preference of many species that could be eventually become many habitats. So usually the environment governs the properties of habitat, but not vice versa. So biosphere. Now what is a biosphere? So biosphere is the biological component that is supporting life of the earth, which includes lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere. So it includes all the living organism on earth together with the dead organic matter produced by them. So biosphere is deficient at extremes of north and south poles, the highest mountains and the deepest ocean. So since existing hostile conditions they do not support life, life is the characteristics of features of biosphere. So what is life? Life, the characteristic feature of biosphere. So occasionally spores of fungi and bacteria do occur at great height beyond 8,000 meters, but they are metabolically inactive and hence represent only dormant life. So just see this picture over here. So here the entire part of Earth's land, soil, water and atmosphere in which living organisms are found is called the biosphere. The combined area of lithosphere, hydrosphere, of and atmosphere is known as the biosphere. You can see it over here. So now what is lithosphere? So lithosphere is the solid crust on the hard top layer of the earth. It is made up of rocks and minerals and covered by a thin layer of soil. It is an irregular surface with various landforms such as mountains, plateaus, plains, valleys, etc. So landforms are found over the continents and also on the ocean floors. So lithosphere is the domain that provides us forest, grasslands for grazing land, land for agriculture and human settlement. So it is also a source of mineral wealth. Now what is hydrosphere? So the domain of water is referred to as hydrosphere. It comprises various sources of water and different types of water bodies like rivers, lakes, seas, oceans, etc. So it is essential for all living organism. Now atmosphere. So atmosphere is the thin layer of air that surrounds the earth. The gravitational force of the earth holds the atmosphere around it. It protects from the harmful rays and scorching of heat of the sun. It consists of a number of gases, dust and water vapor. So the changes in the atmosphere produce change in the weather and climate. So the plant and animal kingdom together makes a biosphere or the living world. So it is a narrow zone of the earth where land, water and air interact with each other to support life. So biosphere is a part of Earth where life can exist. Biosphere represent a highly integrated and interacting zone, and biosphere is absent at extremes of north and south poles. The energy required for the life within the biosphere comes from the sun. The nutrients necessary for living organism come from air, water and soil. So the same chemicals are recycled over and over again for life to continue. So living organisms are not uniformly distributed throughout the biosphere. Only a few organisms live in the polar regions, while the tropical rainforests have an exceedingly rich diversity of plants and animals. Ecology. Now, what is an ecology? So, let's start with the history of ecology. So, the roots of ecology lie in the natural history, which is as old as human civilization itself. So, since early history, the man has indulged in ecology in a practical sort of way, knowingly and unknowingly. So, in the primitive societies, every individual was required to have an intimate knowledge of his environment for their survival. That is about the forces of nature and of plants and animals around them. So, our ancient Indian texts have references to ecological principles. The classical text of Vedic period, such as Vedas, the Samhitas, the Brahmanas, and the Aranyakas, Upanishad, contain many references to ecological concepts. So, the Indian treatise on medicine, the Charaka Samhita, and the surgical text Sushruta Samhita show that people during this period had a good understanding of plant and animal ecology. So these texts contain classification of animals on the basis of habitat. So the land in terms of nature of soil, climate and vegetation, and the description of plants typical to various localities. So Charaka Samhita contains information that air, land, water and seasons were indispensable for life and that polluted air and water were injuries to health. So here are the levels of organization in ecology. So you can see this, the levels. So level of organization in ecology starts with an individual. Now what is an individual? So individual is an organism, living being, an individual living being that has the ability to act or function independently. It may be a plant, animal, bacterium, fungi. Here you can see a fish, a single fish. So it is a body that made up of organs, organelles or other parts that work together to carry out the various processes of life. Now population is a group of organisms. Like you can see there are so many fishes. Here it was only one. That's why we called it individual. Now there are so many. That's why we are calling it population. So it's a population that occupying a defined area during a specific time. So population growth rate is the percentage variation between the number of individuals in a population at two different times. So here you can see community, then ecosystem, biome, biosphere. So let's get started with this only. Individual. Now I told you that organism is an individual living being that has the ability to act or function independently. It may be any organism, animal, plant or so now what is a species? A species is the basic unit of classification and a taxonomic rank of an organism as well as a unit of biodiversity. So species are often defined as the largest group of organisms in which any two individuals of the appropriate sexes or mating types can produce fertile offspring, typically by sexual production. So all species are given a two-part name, a binomial. The first part of a binomial is the genus to which the species belongs. So the second part is called the specific name or the specific epithet. So let's come on to the population. So population is a community of interbreeding organism occupying a defined area during a specific time. So population growth rate is the percentage variation between the number of individual in a population at two different times. So therefore the population growth rate can be positive or negative. So here it is the percentage variation between number of individual population at two different times. It can be positive due to birth or negative due to death. So the main factor that makes population increase are birth and immigration. The main factor that makes population decrease is the death and immigration. So the main limiting factors for growth of a population are abiotic and biotic components. So here is the population density. So the number of individual per unit area at a given time is termed as the population density. Community. Now, what is a community? The community, if we look around ourselves, we will notice that population of plants, animals seldom occur by themselves. So the reason for this is quite obvious. In order to survive, individuals of any one species depend on individuals of different species with which they actively interact in several ways. For example, animals require plant for food and trees for shelter. So plants require animals for pollination, seeds, dispersion, and soil microorganism to facilitate nutrient supply. So communities in most instances are named as a major community and minor community. So a grassland community is dominated by grasses, though it may contain herbs, shrubs, and trees along with associated animals of different species. So major community. Now, what is a major community? It's a large size, well organized and relatively independent. They depend only on the sun's energy from outside and are independent of the inputs and outputs from the adjacent community, like tropical evergreen forest in the northeast. Minor communities. Now, what are minor communities? They are dependent on neighboring communities and are often called societies. So they are secondary aggregation within a major community and are not therefore completely independent unit as far as energy, nutrient dynamics are concerned. Example, a mat of structure of a community. So in a community, the number of species and size of the population vary greatly. So a community may have one or several species. So the environmental factors determine the characteristics of the community as well as the pattern of organization of the members in the community. So the characteristic pattern of community is termed as structure, which is reflected in the roles played by various population. So the range, the type of area they inhabit, the diversity of species in the community and the spectrum of interaction between them. So see this question. Consider the following statements with regard to ecological succession. So first statement, ecological succession is the process of change in the species structure of an ecological community over time. Second statement, ecological succession leads to a stable, self-perpetuating community called the seral stage. Third statement, secondary succession is faster than primary section. So which of the above statements are true? Now, like earlier I have given you a question and the answer to that question was C. So now you people have to tell me the answer of this question again in the comment section, and in the next class I will be starting with ecosystem. And guys, if you want to take an Academies Plus subscription, use code STUDYIS And if you have any kind of queries, you can contact us on Telegram, Insta, FB, and you can even mail us. So thank you guys, thank you so very much, and we'll meet in the next class.